right, cool. Let's do this.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Test Podcast. I'm your host, Rod. Joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Tuesday doing feedback. You didn't see that coming, did you?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Uh, but things are gonna be a little more random with me in New York and stuff, and we got to get it in where we can fit it in. And we've done 4 regular shows, so it's about time to do some feedback. This show is for all the people that the super fans, man, the people that write in, the people that leave comments, the people that leave us 5-star reviews, leave voicemails, vote in the polls. This episode is really all about what you have to say and our responses back to you. We're going to get to all of that stuff. The official weapon of the show is
The taser.
an unofficial sport.
Bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme, extreme, extreme. And I guess the best place to start is we should start with the people that took the time out to give us some money. I mean, listen, we are nothing if not capitalists.
We sure like capitalists.
They say nothing moves but the money. And that's true. They say ain't nothing going on but the rent. That is also true. The rent don't stop. So we have to make sure that we thank all y'all. So let's do that right now. Play a little selection from the choir.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tied to the Black Driver Tips.
New day, new salary. Let's talk about it. Joanna M. Hit us with that recurring donation. Doug R. David from Brooklyn hit us up. Ricky A. Pretty Ricky, what they call him. Laura F. Chris from Hawaii. April G hit us with that money. Corey the Tickler hit us up. Lindsay B, thank you very much. Lindsay, we appreciate you. We got some money from Tabitha M. Thank you very much, Tabitha. Alexis H. We got a one-time donation from Earl D. Thank you, Earl.
Come on through, Earl. That's definitely an old man's name, Earl. You know how many Earls you know nowadays?
It's either Earl or Early because it's got an E on the end, and either way, old black man name.
Old black man name.
Marlon B. Wonga from down under. Shout out all the way from Australia, mate. Tanya S. Dot Street J. Shirley Wong Esquire. Please say the Esquire. Tiffany B. And Mr. Span from the Span Report podcast. Jay Full. Alfonso M. Palmetto Stone Magic. Autumn W. Jasmine J. This one's taking a while to load, and it's David C. And lastly is James C. No relation. Thanks to everybody that took the time out to donate. You know what? Play me out, choir director. Let me get a little bit more of that music. All right. Before they start dancing in the aisles, let's go ahead and get to everybody sit back down, okay? We had a good time.
We ain't trying to be here all day.
Let's get to these 5-star reviews. We got one new 5-star review. It's from Almentra from the US. It says, "Hooked on you. Hi, Rod and Karen. I've been listening to you guys for quite a few years now. The very first time I discovered you and other Black podcasts for the first time was when I was just trying to find some commentary on The Wiz Live, which was on NBC. I remember when we talked about that.
Mm-hmm. That was actually really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. This search led me to your podcast and many others, and I've been hooked ever since. Your show is very funny and informative. I so much appreciate the information you provide us with. I really enjoy the shows when you have guests. Janelle James was always one of my favorites. I'm so happy for her success, and I'm also very happy for your success with the show. So proud of you, Rod, for Game Theory. Can't wait to hear your name called at the Emmys. I love to hear that myself. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Me
Keep
either.
yeah. Keep up the good work. Faithful listener for life. Heart emoji. Almentra. Thank you,
Oh, thank
man. So sweet, so
you.
nice.
Ain't
Um,
it? Oh.
this is one of the reasons it's just important, y'all. It's almost Christmas time.
Mhm.
You haven't had time to do anything special for us this year, or since you've been listening, leave us a 5-star review. We love to read them. This is gonna be my first Christmas away from my family and loved ones. So I make me feel warm with a bunch of 5-star reviews, guys. That'll bridge the gap, as they say. All right, let's get into the feedback on the website, but let me play some music before we transition. Oh, that's sweet.
Mhm.
Talk about what they had to say on the actual website. Episode 2644, a multi-generational learning space was the title of this feedback episode. We got 4 comments, and of course we'll get to YouTube and Anchor as well.
Mhm.
Appia left 3 of the 4 comments.
Oh, come on through, Appia.
I love the feedback show. It's when the radio, okay, my phone is answering me, and it's not a sight of my medical. It's not a sign of my medical decline. Mental decline. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Mental decline. IP also says I don't have the clear separation between work and private. I moved to the city I live in for my first real job, and I met Mr. Apia 4 months later. So my friends from before live mostly somewhere else. Only one of them is semi-close. I don't work in an office. I talk a lot on the phone with them, so seeing each other is extra fun. I met many nice people through work, and some of them became friends and friendly contacts. I would say I'm really friends with 3 of my current coworkers, and that's a lot. I would meet with maybe 10 for fun for lunch or so, and that's also a huge amount in my opinion. What do you
Mhm.
say there?
I say yeah, and I say yeah. I understand that. I've come to the point to where if the relationship with coworkers turn into friendship, I'm cool with that. I'm never rejecting a new friend, but I've just learned over the years you got to let shit take its course. Like you got to let time go by. Because the thing is, I have learned, even though I'm a talker and I'm a busybody, I have learned to watch people and believe what they show you. And there are certain characteristics and traits that I know my personality does not mix with because I know me. I'm not gonna put up with that. Like just in general, I got family members. I'm like, not gonna put up with that. So if I'm not gonna put up with that with them, I'm definitely not gonna put up with that with you.
Yeah,
So it's just one of those things where I found beautiful friendships through work. But for most people, when it comes to work, the only and not only work in church and all these social functions that people are quote unquote friends, but your friendship only extend as far as this like function or like activity goes. Once you leave or they leave, you no longer have contact, nobody's reaching out or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, y'all might have been quote unquote friends, but you're really acquaintances, because a lot of people kind of throw friend and friendship around very casually, you know. But truth is, no, I don't have no thousand something friends. That's what Facebook say, but I ain't got that many friends, like
yeah, and
true
I think
diehard
y'all are
friends.
kind of saying the same thing. And I just think what's happened is that a lot of the commentaries become really extreme around work and
Mm-hmm.
introversion and stuff, and so people are starting to say shit like, I would never hang out with a coworker type of thing. And I think, I think there's a reasonable line in between where it's like some people cool, some people not, just like any
Right.
other activity.
Correct.
But back to what she was saying, I enjoy work parties. I get to go and entertain the mood, and as a real extrovert, it gives me energy. I learned to force myself to go to bed at an okay time, 12 p.m., or it's not good the next day. I also don't excessively drink. Still, I often heard I'm the one to give life to a party, and I don't doubt it. It is what it is. Not ashamed here. Um, yeah, and I think those functions there's certain people that thrive in those functions. I'm not one of
Mm-hmm.
those people, especially with work people. I'm definitely more of a hangout with in a small circle with people I know type of
Well,
guy.
right. You're
Um,
very you're very like you could be the life of the party in those situations, but it's very tight and small type of
yeah,
thing.
I don't want to be the other way, and it's not
Right.
that I don't have that muscle. I think I can do it.
Oh, you
I mean,
can.
we've hosted a bunch of shit, with our podcast with fans coming out and having to entertain people as they arrive and stuff. But it's just a muscle that I don't like working. It's a lot of work. Appia
I
says,
can see that.
I think I have an example of emotional labor for friendships. Asking deep questions, questions that bring relationships from superficial level to real friendships. Like, are you happy at your job? How do you feel about your divorce? What do you still want to achieve in your life? Questions that make us a little afraid to ask, but if no one ever goes deeper, the friendships can't grow. I would not, and this is just me, my opinion, of course, I would not consider that emotional labor. Like asking or answering, I don't consider that work. Like
And
friendships
that's
are a
what.
thing that I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and um I I don't know. There's something about the way emotional labor is used on the internet as like this gotcha, and by the people that try to turn everything into like not capitalism and not we trying to get to a different place that's a more emotional and da 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 da. And yet at the same time, they're always keeping a fucking tab on their friendships and their relationships in weird ways to me, where the way that I operate, if it's a relationship that um if it's a relationship, I'm an adult. I can use my words. If I'm in a relationship and it's not reciprocated, I'm gonna voice that, but I won't be pulling up an itemized list. I'll
Right.
just be like, hey man, you always call and tell me about your day. You never even check up on me. I just say that rather than be like, I'm doing emotional labor for you. You told me about your divorce and I didn't. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
consider that stuff labor, but I can see how other people would. Now the thing you said that I do find very interesting there, I wouldn't count the stuff before that as a friendship. So when you're
Right.
saying I'm your friend, but I don't know if you're happy at your job, how you feel about your divorce, what you want to achieve in your life, I don't count those people as friends. I don't even know that shit. You might as well be a fucking stranger to me, you know?
Agreed. And also, while you was talking, I thought about emotional labor, and for some people, like with the person that have written in, I understand the perspective more. It's such a loaded word nowadays,
Mm.
and it means different things to different people. And a lot of people don't want to be associated with it because of the negativity disassociated with the word labor, and and I'm like you. When it comes to friendship, I don't consider being your friend work. It's just what I do, if that makes sense. I'm not tallying, I'm not tagging, I'm not, giving you an itemized report on every, we ain't doing audits, ain't no debit and credit and shit like that. We just friends.
Yeah,
And I understand, and over the years, everybody don't function like that. So if you're a type of person that likes to tab, we can't be friends. I don't give a fuck about that. And you gonna make me mad once you bring some
mhm,
shit up, and I'm like, the fuck you talking about? Type of thing. Because that's just my personality. Because I don't keep a track of, I don't keep tabs on those things, because those things aren't what's important to me. What's most important is the foundation of the friendship. And if the friendship is built on that, ask yourself, is this a friendship or is this something of convenience?
right. Um, Think Pretty Smart says we often wind up in relationships, including friendships, that we later find out are transactional. The only way for some people to get these things from others is to classify them as a friendship or romantic relationships. Yeah, I think that's true. I was thinking about that today about how transactional people are. And that's definitely something I was introduced to more through the internet than real life.
Agreed.
Like the internet brought people into my life that looking back, it's like, oh, this was always tit for tat, or some type of like, I need to be seen with you for a thing that I'm gonna get, but they never gave a fuck about me. It's just
Right.
what they perceived I could do for them was more important than me as a human being.
Right. And it's also the things that a lot of these people did were not out of the kindness of their heart. It was, oh, I'm doing this big quote unquote grand gesture just so I can get something back on, so I can get a return on my investment. It's not for
Yeah.
you, it's not for anything. It's like I'm doing these things because I know sooner or later, whatever I consider a valid exchange, a bartering system that they've made up in their minds, eventually they're going to get a return on their investment. And I don't function like that.
Yeah, I think when you're transactional, you actually start quantifying shit like labor and
Correct.
it's like, what am
Hmm.
I doing for you and when are you gonna repay me? But yeah, in my own life, I had to go through a couple of cycles of this to be like, oh, you don't want to be to be a friend or in a relationship. You want to
Mm-mm.
air at your whim. You want someone to hold your hand when you return from your dad's cancer treatments. However, you have zero interest or intentions of doing that for anyone else under any circumstance. Yeah.
Correct. For
And then I
right.
guess maybe that's where the term comes from, is for some people, after they feel like someone has used them or something, then they come up with that, like, I did labor for you and it was not reciprocated, so I wasn't paid. So maybe that's where the magic of the term comes from, because to me, I think I would just be hurt. I wouldn't be feeling like I did work, but I guess it feels like work if it's unrequited.
That's
um
true, and I've been that person that have done stuff like that and felt hurt and heartbroken and things like that, because when I was younger, I was very naive to a lot of things and how cruel and mean and people could be and how people could use you and just abuse a lot of the kindness and the goodness in your heart, I mean, that you have. And there are a lot of adults, and people wonder why they're mean and mean spirited and ugly and nasty and things like that when they used to be sweet. A lot of it is because they got their heart broken and they said never again. And and that never again, they took that seriously, and they're like, no, fuck, nope, I've been used that one time. And they was like, I'm not going down this road. Never, never, never again. Nope, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not going nowhere. Don't. And they just become mean and bitter spirited. But most people aren't born like that. The world turns people into that, and it's really, really hard to fight naturally against that, because I've been there where I was hurt really, really hard and got really mean and really bitter and really angry at the world. And it's one of those things where I cannot allow bad situations and circumstances around me to change the foundation of who I am, because that's not who I am. And
right.
so I have to, that's why I fight for my joy and I fight for my happiness and I fight for my peace, because you have to keep balance there. You have to. And if you don't continually fight for these things, the world will take these things away from you to leave you empty and have nothing to give you in return but heartache and pain and depression and sadness and shit like that. That's what the world tells you to do. And that's why you have a lot of people, they falling in that trap and they don't know it. And a lot of people don't know how to get out and they don't know how to fight against it. But once I learned how to fight against it, I'm like, no, that's what I'm not going to do. And I'm not going to let that change who I am and the foundation of me just because the situation happened.
Yep, that's why boundaries are so important. The
Mm-hmm.
poll is, have you ever had a relationship with a coworker? Yes or no? I guess it was inspired by TJ Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh 57% on our website, yes. So that's the majority, and 43% no. On Anchor, we got, by the way, we got no comments on YouTube for this one, okay? But on Anchor, the poll, 35% yes, 65% no. Probably because the Spotify people, they have a lot more to lose. So,
Right, right. They was like,
when
you
you're the
ain't pulling up
manager,
my bag.
Yeah, so that's probably why less of them said yes, but yeah. And then the Q&A on Spotify, check on your weak friends too. Yeah, everybody was saying check on your strong friends this week. Check on your weak friends, what they up to.
Come
Um,
on.
one person
Help them
said,
become strong.
this one person says, because they got a long username and I can't really read it. It says, by the fact that ain't nobody checking on me, I've come to realize I must not be considered the strong friend. So who I'm supposed to check out on? That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know we were supposed to be categorizing our friends. I actually don't have a list of who's strong and who's weak. I just have friends.
They just in one pile, friends.
Nelson said the weirdo reaction from some black men having something bad to say about the trade for Brittany Griner really puzzled me. But God forbid it's a fellow brother. It's free my nigga. Very strange. Shaking my head. Yeah, nigga could like kill people and we'd be like free Bobby Smurder. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like it's like we're suspecting them of multiple robberies and assaults, and we'll be like, we need to free Lil Uzi Vert. You know, like we don't give a fuck when it's a dude, but also like
Mhm.
it just is what it is, man. Dudes, a lot of times, like black dudes find comedy, humor, or what, well, like whatever their misgivings are in the things that they haven't really tried to educate themselves about, or they
Right.
refuse to like they put a matter of pride in there, you know what I'm saying? So they're like, I can't, what does it say about me if I, uh if I don't have some type of take on Brittany Griner? And I'm like, fam, it's just not a take for me. It's just, you
Sometimes
know,
it's okay not to say nothing, and
yeah,
we live in a world now where everybody feel like they have to give their opinions, good, bad, indifferent, ignorant. People just don't care anymore. And I don't know if it's because I'm old or something like that. Some shit I just look at, I just go do 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 do. I talk to
yeah,
you about it, but I'm not putting that shit on the internet. I don't give a fuck about what y'all got to say.
yes, it is. I mean, a lot of brothers just got issues with around black women, period.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just part of the thing for them is that the pushback on it to them is the validation of the issue. It's like whenever you
Right.
see one of these like conservative, um it's like whenever you see one of these conservative people that are like the woke mob is doing this, that, and the other, and of course it riles up people on the internet. The people come after them and say stuff, and then they go, "See, you see what I'm saying? You can't say nothing about them." And so it's like a fucking self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's just sad and a waste of time. I don't participate in it, and I don't really argue with those dudes because I really don't think they can be reached. They just, you just gotta hope they're not in a position to hurt somebody. Aaron says, I love that you brought up how binge drinking in college can be related to mental health issues. It wasn't until after college that I realized that being a party girl all those years was me coping. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, for a lot of
Mecca.
people.
Mm-hmm.
And
A
people
lot of people.
underestimate that. Like when kids go off to college, it is a big transactional thing for everybody involved. It's big. It's
Yeah,
it's emotional
transitional.
transition. I'm sorry. It's big for the parents because the parents have to be adjusted to their child being on their own. It's big to the child that's transitioning into becoming an adult. And for a lot of people, it's literally their first time away from home for such a long period of time. You might have children that have been away from home, but they have never been away from home where they didn't have a relative with them, a brother, a sister, a loved one, or something like that. So they're literally having to make decisions on their own for the first time. It causes a lot of people anxiety to go, and then a lot of times you're with strangers. So a lot of your classmates and schoolmates and shit, y'all a lot of times don't go to the same schools. You don't, and even if you do get accepted to these schools, odds of them being your roommate and all that shit is low. So you're literally on your own the bulk of the time. And
Yeah,
so,
I
go ahead.
remember that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Mhm.
there's a This American Life episode from probably over 10 years ago that was about binge drinking. And that's the thing that really woke me up to like, oh, binge drinking in college is a lot of mental health shit that we're not prepared to deal with. So we just numb ourselves with alcohol.
Hmm. Yeah, so for a lot of people, they want to fit in. And for some people, even if they don't drink or don't feel comfortable drinking, they will anyway to be accepted in these social circles. and
Mhm.
fall underneath the pressure, versus saying, I don't want to do this and I don't feel comfortable with this. A lot of them start doing drugs and things like that for the first time because that's what people around them are doing, versus saying, I don't feel comfortable and I don't want to do it. Same thing with sex and things like that. Start engaging in these activities that they may or may not feel comfortable with because they think this is what you're quote unquote supposed to do, falling underneath these pressures and things like that. And it's very difficult, to navigate this world for the first time. And unless you, which is rare at 17, 18, 19 years old, it's rare that you have enough. There's some people that do now have enough strength to be like, I'm not going to do that. And don't mind being alone. Sometimes don't mind being by themselves or
Well,
finding their own
also,
group.
it could just depend on what kind of university you go to, but there's a
Correct.
bunch of factors. It's not one to one, but I think a
Mm-mm.
lot of binge drinking is, we hit the nail on the head. Um, but yeah, Mecca says, I met my now ex-husband at work. We were married for 15 years. What a waste. But how long did you have a job? Keena says, Monkey is the guitarist for Corn. Okay. Uh, 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 I'm forgetting what that's for. I think, you know what? Yes, thank you. I remember everything. Please, no one write in with no more details. Marvin says, yep, I agree. If you're checking on people, check on people, but do remember to look at yourself first. Yep, check on yourself before checking on, worrying about checking on others, to be honest when you do. Yeah. I mean, look, the other thing too is like the check on your strong friends, this, that, and a lot of this shit just assumes that other people don't have issues, that you're the person that can fix the other person. It's a lot of complicated shit, and I don't feel comfortable diagnosing or blaming or assigning blame and responsibility to anybody. Everyone's kind of on their own to take care of their own mental health.
Mhm.
Hopefully, if you reach out to somebody, they'll have something to say, but you're not guaranteed. Somebody can hit you up like, I'm struggling right now, and the magical words might not flow to you, and the things that are like the cliches that we tell everybody might not hit them like that. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I never feel comfortable around these situations where we're talking about people dying by suicide, and then it immediately turns into like, do this and do that and do this. Like
Is
like some of this shit is just out of your hands, and you just gotta hope for the best with people. And at the end of the day, it's not your fault. And I always feel bad for the loved ones of people, that very public famous people that die by
Mhm.
suicide, because low key, the way we talk about it sounds a little victim blamey, quote unquote. Like
right.
they must not have been checking on him. You're not saying it explicitly, but you're saying it like they must not have cared for this person the right way, or obviously they'd still be here. And I never feel comfortable with that.
Me either, because the thing is, a lot of people do that, and just like everything on the social media, to be on these moral high horses. A
Mhm.
lot of people do that to go, well, what can I do and how can I look at this situation to make myself better than you? Honestly, because at the end of the day, nobody knows how they woulda, coulda, shoulda, and also some people are going through things and they just don't want to share. And people
Yeah.
don't want to hear that. They might not feel
Or if
comfortable.
they,
They might
or,
not know how to deal with it
yeah.
themselves.
Or if they do share, just don't come out. You don't, like, people act like it's a Hallmark movie where they share it and you
Right.
just start talking to them and they go, "Oh God, I get it now." Like, I don't know. Some of this stuff is medical. Some of this stuff is
Correct.
just
You might not have the answers.
biological.
You might not have the answers. You might not can relate. It might be some shit you've never experienced before in your life. You just
Yeah,
do not
homie,
know.
a friend reached out today about something, and I was at work obviously, but I was like, have you hit up your therapist about maybe like an emergency appointment? Because it sounds like you should talk to a like you could talk to somebody that's a professional, that like knows all this shit that you've been
Mhm.
going through, that um can advise or say some stuff that's more helpful than me taking 10 minutes away from work to try to say some shit that I don't even know if I'm making it better or worse. And
Correct.
that person was like, yeah, I hit up my therapist. We're gonna talk this afternoon already. So, I appreciate y'all, blah blah blah. And I'm like, cool, because you really don't fucking know what people are
Right.
going through.
Mm-mm.
Um, The next episode was 2645 securing the bag when I got my bag back. Appia says, have a great time in New York, Rod, and please save the world with extra good jokes, no pressure. Yep, no problem. No problem. You know, I'll get it done. That's what I do. Uh, and then let me see if we had any comments. We're not gonna probably have a ton of comments on YouTube, as I just had to put all the episodes up like the other today or something, like a day ago. So I just realized, like, oh yeah, they haven't had time to comment, which is fine. So nothing on YouTube for that episode, but the poll: have you ever had your luggage lost by an airline? Yes or no?
I haven't had it
20%.
long, but we've had it delayed. I think one time, or it didn't get to where we was or something like that. We had to go in that corral. Remember, we had to in
Oh
the
yeah,
suitcase.
yeah. We had to go back. Yeah. Have you ever had? So yes, 20% have had it lost. 80% no. Now I found, they got mine. They got it to me that night, so it wasn't that bad. But and then 0% never had luggage on a plane unless it was carry-on. So there's 0% that had that. And I've never flown. 0% of our audiences that answered this poll has never flown.
On both of the polls.
I'm checking the second one now.
Okay.
That was the first one on our website. On Anchor,
okay.
The second poll on Anchor, 29% of people have had their luggage lost by an airline. Now, this percentage is a lot higher. It's 9% higher, and it makes
with
sense.
The money.
They fly more, and they probably fly to just different locations and stuff. 62% have not, which is lower. 4% have never had luggage on a plane unless it was a carry-on, and 5% have never flown. So
they important. They was like, what am I gonna get on the plane for? And crash? Nah, I'm good. I'm too important.
Rest in peace, Rat Sputin was my Q&A because of that big dead rat I had seen. Alicia says, rest in peace to a real one. Ernest says, survived by his 4 sons and their friend, the TV reporter. April O'Neil. Raphael says, stop paying shirtless evolved grifts. I look for the most consistent with a diversified portfolio. If you've been cheated on, can't catch a future cheater, pay me $125 a month and I'll get you heartbroken faster.
Oh no, that faster.
Smith ST8 says, I guess Smith State says, does it count if they found the luggage? I had my luggage temporarily missing, but eventually found. Happened fairly often when I travel for 90% for work. I think if they found it, it don't count. And Sean says, Sean says, wear a disposable mask and replace it with a new one every 4 hours, at least every 4 hours. I guess you're saying when you're flying or something. Thank you, Sean. 21 for the
I guess when you out and about, they was like, just change it just because people, germs.
You can keep changing them. I hear you. All right, let's get to the next episode, which is 2646, Rick versus Roger. Which was kind of a random episode. We got 4 comments. Appia says, Rod, please try walking more. See it like a mask before your heart. You are a very young man, exactly my age, and a bright spot in the world. Try to do the 10,000 steps a day as it was a game. It helps a lot. You will feel better very soon. Love, Appia. I'm walking back and forth to work and doing what I can do. I'm
about to say, you might be hitting them 10,000 steps now. That Apple alert be like, you filled up all the rings, sir. All of the rings.
Yeah, I mean, I am filling up all my rings. I'm probably somewhere around like 6,000 or so steps a day. And we kind of we'll get into it later with Appia, but I take it under advisement, but I'm doing what I can do, and we'll go from there. Anyway, Roger versus Rick is a hard one, says Maya, but I have to give it to Roger. Remember when he tricked Francine into digging up that woman's body just so he could turn her hair into a wig? Yeah, not much you can do to top that. And since y'all love American Dad, y'all should check out one of my favorite YouTube channels, Addicted to American Dad. It has the best AD compilations. Love you both, and congrats on all the success. Sean says, well, Rick did put a spatially tessellated void inside a modified temporal field until a planet developed intelligent life, which he introduced to the wonders of electricity so they could generate it on a global scale in order to power his engine, slavery with extra steps. I mean, I would say that is slightly worse than a little skullduggery. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, listen,
They both
I
are
could go
terrible
back and
people.
forth. Yeah, I could go back and forth with just terrible shit they've done. And maybe Rick wins it. I don't know, but I just know they both terrible, and I like the game of talking about what terrible shit they've done.
Yes, Roger stole electricity from a hospital to
Hmm.
run his like wig and like clothes to keep him running.
It
And
was a
then
children's hospital.
yeah, children, and then got mad and set that bitch on fire, and then it ended up burning down the hospital.
Burned down the children's hospital. God damn, he evil.
I think it was stealing their
Wangan-
power.
Wangangi says they both trash, but I get a nod to Rick because he's capable of so much more fuckery across a wider footprint. And then let me make sure there's no comments on YouTube really quick. Don't think there are. Okay, yeah, no comments for this one. All right. So then let's go to the poll. Who was worse, Roger the Alien, Rick Sanchez, or I don't watch these shows? It is exactly 27.5% to 27.5%, and then 45% of the audience does not watch the show. 50-50 basically on our website. And but I mean that's amazing. 50-50. I mean that's why we was in that debate, I guess, because it was so close to us. Oh shit. Did I close? Oh no, I'm still here. Okay.
I'm about to say, I
Sorry.
still see you and hear you.
Yeah, I thought I had closed the wrong thing by accident. And then let's go to the poll on Anchor, and it is okay. Rick wins 31% Roger, 37% Rick, and 32% of people do not watch these shows. That is still amazingly close to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's look at the comments. Why does one person get to control the heat for the whole building? This is my ministry. This is my plight. This is what's been killing me the last few days. Coming in here fighting this. I left the windows open all damn day today. Even when I wasn't here, I said, "Fuck it." I'm tired of coming up 3 flights of stairs
They
and
hit the
then
heat.
hit the heat. Like I want to hit something cooler than cooler than something to help me cool down. Anyway, Leash says, I blame it on slavery. I know. Listen, it was so hot the other day I came in here. I started picking cotton, y'all. I just went ahead. I said, are we sure they was on the right side? Are we sure the North was with us?
Did you open up the door? Nobody knows the trouble I see.
I started singing Negro spirituals. Okay.
Swing low, sweet chariot.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna open the window and start singing. And when somebody tells me, shut the fuck up, I'm gonna be like, then come in here and turn this radiator down.
Right? Then
Right
I'm
now,
gonna quit singing these Negro hymn spirituals.
I'm getting reminiscent of the song of the South. Okay. And then meanwhile, my next door neighbors got the heat on, and it's a white person. They like, I wish I was in Dixie.
Hooray, hooray.
So it's making me
two completely different tunes.
It's making me happy about the South too. Anyway,
they gonna
Raphael
be like, whistle while you work.
Raphael says that's a great question. It had to be a white that came up with this idea, right? After reading about colonialism and decided I am not like my ancestors. Anyway, I got control of mine. Freedom. Yeah, I definitely missed that about home. Sakina says, welcome back to New York City, where most of us don't have central air. Yeah.
Yes.
Ernest says, hey Siri.
Thing up there.
Ernest says, hey Siri, play. Oh shit, this is gonna make my phone do it. Hey Susan, play Hiding Here by Nelly. That's funny. All right, so that's it for that episode. Let's go to the next one, which is 2647 radiators, thermostats, and shower rods. All right. It had a lot going on. We got 8 comments for this.
Ooh, y'all had
but
something to
you'll
say.
see a lot of them are from Abia, who says fully vaccinated means 3 shots or two, and recovery from infection. It's in the law, I guess, in Germany. I've had
Hmm.
4 shots and an infection. Bragging. I'm a female body person, and still I'm way more bothered by heat than cold. I'm mostly warm. Some would say hot, but that's another story. We never use any kind of heat in our bedroom, and it's in your degree 16 here right now. I love it. Must be my Slavic genes. when it's when it's too warm, especially inside, I'm getting dizzy. Yeah, man. I've never done well with heat, man. Even
You're
when I was
very sensitive
younger,
as a kid. You're very sensitive to the heat.
I can't. Yeah, and what's crazy is like cold. I do great in cold. Like I remember one time we had to move in the middle of the summer and it's so hot, and I just felt useless. I was so weak. I wasn't. I needed help on everything. It was like, can I help me carry this? Help me do. And then another time we moved and it was cooler, and I was just like, put that couch on my shoulder. I got it. It was so different. I'm like, oh yeah, give me
Complete.
2 boxes.
Yes, honey, honey. That time fun. That was back in them broke days. But now, nigga, you better. We're gonna hire the movers. I shall
Uh, I
not go
wanted
back.
I wanted to use the locking out incident to campaign for walking again. It would have been easier and faster, but I also don't want to end up on some list of annoying people. Ups, I still said it. Oh well, you're the best, Rod. Um, and so I actually replied to this because I'm like, all right, now Apia, I heard you the first time about your walking thing. I'm not sure where this is coming from. I don't know how walking would help me when it's 40 degrees out and raining, and I have on pajamas and a t-shirt and just my phone. Like I'm not sure how walking would have saved me this problem or help
You
with
might
this
have actually got
problem.
colder.
I don't. Yeah, like at some point you just harping on me for some shit, and it's something going on with you and not me. And I don't want to get to a point where I'm getting defensive or upset or angry because like, okay, heard you. Walking is good. I know this. You know this. That's what I'm doing every day.
She
That's
rooting
enough.
for you, Rod.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. And so I reply, I'm walking every day, more than the amount you said to walk in the last comment. Please don't obsess over this as I'm working on it. Also, walking wouldn't have solved me being locked out at 9 p.m. in the rain in my pajamas. If this is going to turn into a thing for you, then I ask that you drop it for both our sakes. And she said, okay, okay. I was just worried about you. I will stop now. Sorry. And then she replied later, I thought about it, and being so annoying about this topic was triggered by some recent events in my life, and I put it on you. And I said, all good. I appreciate you saying that. And there are no hard feelings, as we say in New York. Hey, I'm walking here. And she said, thanks, Rod. And then she replied back, my friend slash neighbor died recently, like last month. I always
Oh,
tried to motivate her to move more, to go on a walk together. It could have saved her, but she didn't want to. She was ashamed because she felt unfit and chose isolation in the end, couldn't even leave her bedroom. I knew she was just on the other side of the wall, but I didn't see her anymore in the last 2 years, really. She texted me and put pauses, but the pauses between the texts got longer and longer, like months. She lived in a house attached to ours with her family. She had heart disease, but the isolation and not moving made the disease way worse. Not everyone is like my friend Corolla. Luckily, there was more to it. She was also depressed and didn't do anything about it. She gave up on herself, and I see that now. Sometimes I still blame myself for not trying even more, but I asked her like 15 times, and it's unlikely that the 16th time would have changed that. I hope this explains my annoying behavior more. And yeah, I said from the first time you left a comment, I was like, this don't seem like it's about me. I might be a lot of things, but I'm not like a recluse or like shut in. I've been careful during the pandemic, which is the only reason I'm not playing basketball and really going to the gym like that. But I mean, I'm hopped on a plane, went to another state, and I'm getting up every day and walking, a mile and a half or whatever over the course of the day. I'm doing that at least 5 days a week, and then of course the Saturday and Sunday, if I go anywhere, I'm probably walking too. So it is what it is, man, and it's not your fault that your friend died, and it's no guarantee you could have
it's
saved her.
not.
Like, don't take that on yourself. That's not on you. People make choices and decisions, and um she could have been out there walking with you every day and got hit by a car. Who fucking knows? Life is random and fucked up, and we're all getting a ticket out of here at some point. And mostly, I'm sorry that you lost your friend. To be
Me
honest,
too, baby. Right.
if that's a thing that triggered you in a way that made you feel like I gotta save the next person that says
Yeah.
they don't like walking,
I'll be like, never again walk.
yeah. And honestly, like the thing I'm getting, like the thing is, I'm gonna walk. I could be taking a fucking Uber every day. I'm getting up and walking, and every day I get a little bit better, even like coming up the stairs and shit. Like I feel a little bit better every time I
A
come
bit
up and down the
stronger.
stairs and like get a little stronger. So, it's been a while since I really was physically active. And I know this isn't the same as running a marathon or hitting the gym, but everybody got to start somewhere. And yeah, I feel fine and I appreciate it. But please do not make this your fucking ministry, man, because I know you get obsessive thoughts. And I don't want to have a Keith Malley 12 responses back and forth about walking. I really would like to nip this in the bud. We talked about it. Let's just move on to the next thing.
Oh
And,
yeah,
and
it had
that's
to be
it. I don't want to
reasonable.
encourage it and I don't want to sound like it's just like, okay, I'm saying this because I am setting a boundary and I am serious about it. I don't want it to be every week the walking checkup from Apia. I don't want it to be. I would like us to be able to move past this. And I've heard you and I'm not dismissing it. There you go.
Mm-mm, not dismissing it, not the business at all. And like I just said, I'm sorry, I really do feel about your friend, and a lot of people feel that guilt. That goes back to some of the stuff we talked about before. How people feel like things are beyond their control, and you can't control everything around you, and it's okay.
Yeah, and like I said, rest in peace to your friend, man. That really does
Hmm.
suck. Mwangangi says the Nick Cannon shit is some frog and scorpion shit, just with more bukkake. I don't think we're getting a lot of bukkake. I don't. You know what's interesting about the Nick Cannon thing? You know what's interesting about the Nick Cannon thing is it doesn't seem very sexual in like a in the like it doesn't sound like freaky or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't seem like if it's a fetish, it's a some type of weird like I want to get as many people pregnant fetish, but it don't seem like I'm just a freak, y'all. You know me, I'm just out here freaking it out. Like it feels like it feels like a fetish in the way that like a person that leads a cult and has sex with all their followers is a fetish, but not like a fetish and like he's into some bukkake. Like I don't even think I think he's having regular missionary sex with these people and just being like another cannon. All right, here's the poll. Oh wait, actually, let me check the comments. I forgot to check the comments on this one, which was radiated thermostats and shower rods. Let's see, did we get any comments? It doesn't seem like we did. Oh no, we got some. I'm sorry. Cheyenne News says I was listening on Spotify, but I had to come to YouTube to see Santa. Oh yeah, because I saw Santa in that store. Chi Chi Mama 77 says Karen, I've been natural since 2008. My mom still buys box perms and tries to give them to me on occasion. I got my first perm at 5. It's great that your loved one is receptive.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, and for some reason, particularly for a lot of black women, like I've seen people fall out with each other. Like, and and I've seen people being, how can you say this? Snooty on both sides. Both sides feel like they better than the other one. When at the end of the day, it's hair, and it's however you choose to live with your hair. And what works for you might not work for somebody else. Um, and that's why when I share the journey with my hair, it's just my natural hair journey. Like I said, I know that for me, I love my hair in the format that it's in, and this is the healthiest it has ever been. And I know me, I know me, I will never go back. I will braid it down and put on a wig if push come to shove, and stuff like that, because for me, that's what best works for me. And I know some people whose hair's down their back and is gorgeous and they've been relaxed for years, they don't have no problem. And that's fine too. But I know for me, the format that my hair is now, particularly with my age and things like that, I'm to the point now I'm old and I don't care.
Yeah, you just gotta believe people when they say whatever the fuck their thing is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So some people it works, some people it don't. Some people it's a health thing, some people it's a style thing. Sometimes pride or Afrocentricity thing, it's just for the most part not my fucking business. Even if it's some weird like anti-black shit that people dealing with, it's for them to work out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I have no
yeah.
comment on anybody else's hair, like especially if it's somebody I don't know. I don't know shit about them, so good luck.
Yeah,
Um,
and it could be
go ahead.
very,
Go ahead.
it could be very frustrating at times, and for some people, and so even some black people, they'll never admit this. Some particular people that are very hardcore, not all, but some people that are very hardcore anti-natural. A lot of them got their own hangups with their own hair, like
Yeah,
which
that's what
has
I'm saying.
absolutely nothing to do with it, right?
Everybody got their own journey, and we really don't know it. So even when you start judging and complimenting people, you still don't really know. I mean, now obviously a compliment is better than a lot of other comments, you know what I'm saying? But you really just don't know. You don't know why they did what and why. Even when it's like, I love you, these sisters with the natural hair, like I love it too, but some people went natural because the fucking perms was breaking off, or alopecia, or health concerns, or cost. It could be a bunch of reasons. But anyway, my mom says y'all are funny. I laughed out loud when Rod said the podcast turned into the Yes Sir Boss Cleaning Show. DOJ Merrick Garland is my boo. I might have to get him tatted in honor of kicking trash ass Trump in the forehead. Great show. Thanks, mom. um yeah, I'm starting to see now that there were more comments I missed. Like for securing the bag, my mom said, I got to see your face, dear brother and sister. And then AJ said from a week ago when we got banned, he said, free Rod and Karen. So it's not just Brittany Griner. They trying to free all of us,
they,
okay?
they trying to free all of us, and I will, like I said, I wish they would tell us the words. I wouldn't say them no more, but we don't know what the words are, so hopefully we won't get another strike.
The poll was Nick Cannon and the mothers of his latest kids. All great people. He's bad, but they're great. They're bad, but he's great. They're all pretty bad for this. On the website, 100% of people said they're all pretty bad for this.
Yeah,
Because
like
he
everybody
admitted,
involved, everybody know what they're getting into. When you number 21, you know what you're getting into.
yeah, he admitted he was spread thin, no pun intended, between his kids. Anyway, on the actual anchor poll, 14% said all great people. 2% said he's bad, but they're great. And then 84% said they're all pretty bad for this.
I
Um,
know why, because they're the people with the money. They out here spreading their seed everywhere, so I get it.
yeah. Camel flu, y'all be safe out here. Jed Damo says you can change that option on DoorDash where if they don't have what you order, you can say, call me, cancel order, or go with the merchant recommendation. Okay, thank you. Raphael says Nick Cannon needs to come talk to me since something man moved into my turf. I'm now in real estate. I got this private island that can accommodate 50 kids. Great price. I also got camels for sale, sheep discount. Aaron says, why does all this shit have to happen while I'm alive? The camel flu. Yeah. Sometimes it do be feeling like that. It's like, why is it my turn? You know? And the latest episode was forgot I was a bad bitch. I don't think we have any comments on the website. Oh shit, we do. I already got 3. Huh. All right. Appia says, stay
They
safe,
be,
Rod. Huh?
I said they be on it.
Yeah, Albia says, stay safe, Rod. I get the feeling of feeling unsafe when it's dark outside because as a woman, you can also feel it very often. I'm walking to the bakery this morning and I don't have my sweet dog with me because we had to put her down on Sunday. I feel unsafe and sad. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, I saw that
to
on
hear
social
that.
media. Very sad for you, Albia. It's been
Mm-hmm.
tough time over there in Germany.
Ah, clear,
P.S.
ain't it?
P.S. Your sound is still great, and I don't understand the Meghan Markle hate either. For me, she is fine. Maybe it's envy. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. So this happens to me sometimes. I had no feelings one way or another about Meghan Markle 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I, honest to
Right.
God, I'm not even gonna say I thought she was a white woman, but I wouldn't. I didn't know she was black. I didn't watch Suits and stuff like that. I
Mm-mm.
no issues with her. I never seen her say anything or whatever. And then now some of this vitriol is so uncalled for, and this need to be quote unquote neutral, as if like, well, yeah, she's part of it too, right? Like she loves this. That shit has turned me into like a nah, man, I'm on her side. like, like if I have to pick, which it sounds like everyone's choosing, I can't be neutral on this. Y'all are being fucked up and then using being fucked up to be like, but ain't she a bitch too? She don't like that we being fucked up. Like, nah, man. I'm with her now. And Mwangangi says, I'm sure there's a market for a black daytime edition. I don't even know what that joke is in reference to. You know, Karen?
No, that just sounds funny.
Okay, Karen just laughing.
Yes, I do, because I know what black is.
Oh, you know what it's in reference to? The poll. Will Amy and TJ be back on the air together? There you go. And
Okay,
here's the thing: Black is daytime edition already. So they have another one that's called like Black the Raw, that is the nighttime edition. Shout out to Chris Lambert. He's the one that put me on, that told me that that's what's happening. Will Amy and TJ be back together on the air? 50-50 on the poll results. So, and then on Anchor, it's 53%, 47%, with yes getting 47 and 53% saying no. So people kind of on some like in the middle, like this could happen. And I think if that's right, I'm gonna say they will be. If y'all are saying it's 50-50 for y'all, then it's probably the answer is probably yes. Even though I was leaning towards no, that they'll never be back on the air together. But shit, if y'all don't care, I don't care. Q&A says, never forget you are a bad bitch. We got this. Raphael says, takes a bad bitch to recognize another. Never forget and stun on these hoes. Rachel says, as long as someone thinks so, don't feel much like one with a house of sick kids and a needed husband 5 days before Christmas. Well, you know what? Bad bitches got sick families sometimes too. Roger says, hello, Cam Newton voice. And Top Flosia says, took a DNA test and I'm 100% that nigga. Absolutely. I am him, as they say. All right. And let me make sure if there's any comments on the website. I don't know why they unmuted, but on the website under this, doesn't seem to be. I mean, which makes sense. It did literally just go up last night. But yeah, cool. So that's it for the website and all that stuff. Let's transition into the voicemails. All right, voicemail 704-557-0186 is the voicemail line. We got one new caller this week from Dre, who left 2 voicemails.
What's up, y'all? It's Dre again. I'm listening to the feedback show, and I think Jackie called in and said something about the Brittany Griner and how he posted something and it brought out all the hate. I'm usually not surprised by whatever kind of bullshit backlash that goes down from black people, from white people, whatever. I knew all this was going to come from white people because all I had seen from the black community was free Brittany Griner. The way, and bruh, he hit it on the head, the way black men came out the woodworks, I was so shocked. I was playing 2K. I'm playing video games. This is where I go to relax and chill. I hop into a party with some niggas I don't really know like that, but we won a few games together. I'm like, this should be a positive gaming experience. As soon as I hop in the party, they're like, so what you think about Brittany Griner, bruh? I'm like, I'm glad she's home, blah, 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 blah. They like, yeah, but it goes from merchant of death, blah, blah, blah. It don't take 3 minutes before it's dyke bitch. And I'm like, and there it really is. That's the truth. I don't even have anything further. I was just disgusted and shocked by how strong that reaction was. It was literally mind blowing to me. Love y'all, man. I'm out.
And he did call back. Let's see what the second voicemail says, and we'll respond to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to call back because I think this ties into another point you were making, Ron. The reason I think all of that threw me off so much is because I have really curated the people around me to not be on
Like
no fuck
that.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think before major events like that happen, I don't even see the rumblings of some of it because the black men in my life are not like that. Even when y'all were talking about that article about how men's friendships aren't as emotionally attached or whatever it was, it was, I was thinking to myself, like, can't relate. I know it to be true because as I get older and I start to make friendships with like other men or meet other men, I start to kind of think, oh man, maybe we'll be close. I start to see like, you don't really know how to be someone's friend. Like you posturing to me in a way that I don't need somebody who considers herself my friend to do. But regardless, I think that's why the reaction to the Brittany Griner situation just fucked me up because I don't have toxic men around me like that. And I hate that term, but I don't think there's any other quick way to describe it. I just keep all that shit away from me. So I don't know. It'll have you getting thrown for a loop sometime, but ultimately for your peace, I think it's the move, man. But anyway, that's all. Love y'all.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Karen.
I'm about to say, yep, sweetie, and I agree. And it's also, I'm put like this: as a woman, it's a catch-22. I'm very glad that you are at the point in your life that you curate and you've got these people away from you, for your own mental health, and you consider other people, and you think outside of the box and all that stuff. Because you've challenged yourself, actually. But for a lot of men, they don't do that because society teaches men to not be considerate, honestly, to just not be considerate about your wife, your kids, just, don't be considerate, have this emotional uh unattachment, and quote unquote, when you start getting the gender roles, particularly straight gender roles, what is the gender role? Man is the head of the household. Man is to be strong. Man is to, not show their weakness. Man is to always be able to take care of his wife. Man is to, go and make all the money. That's why a lot of men have ego problems if they're with a woman that makes more money than they do. They don't know how to handle that shit emotionally, and things like that. But the catch-22 for that as a woman is that a lot of men who are in these groups where they don't associate with, with a lot of these toxic men, a lot of times they get so deep in their bubble that when people complain about these toxic men that they are actually having true interactions with, because for some men they're so insulated from it, they'll start arguing with the people online that say these men ain't shit. And they'll be like, well, nah, not me and my boys. We're not talking about y'all. There are a subsection of y'all that this is a problem and it needs to be addressed. And it's one of the things, and this is just how I feel about it. Not all men, quote unquote, but there are times when a lot of the arguments online about things like this are stupid. Because guess what? A lot of black men can see racism against them. They can see the wrongs and the injustice against them. A black man dies, they all out in the street. A black woman die, all of a sudden we got the question, we got to dig, we got to find out why. She bitches, she hoes, what does she do? And you know what? A lot of them sound like white people when they talk about their injustices. Police, when they talk about, the things against them. And it's one of those things when women be like, I don't feel safe around men, even family members, I don't feel safe around them. They act like, well, what's wrong with you? I'm safe. Okay. You know what? Just like all police officers look the same to you, guess what? To most women, all men look the same to them. I don't know you. I don't know if you're going to hurt me. I don't know if you're going to harm me. You might be the best man on the face of the earth. I don't know that. You're making the assumptions, and sometimes that can be very frustrating. That men can get in a bubble and they can feel so safe and secure that, like I said, when these issues are brought up, they fight against the reality that these people are out there. They act like their friends and their existence is the only existence that matters, and it's not.
Yeah, one, I can definitely relate to the hurt that Drake probably felt from that with that dude, and the betrayal and the it shakes you a little bit, because especially when you consider, like, I've vetted my friends, I've, um you just feel like you don't have those kind of people around you, and if you're a good strong communicator like I am, you think you feel like those people know where you come from too, so they should know better than to say some bullshit like that, where it's like, whoa, why would you think I would be cool with you saying some homophobic shit about Brittany Griner, or even this whole like angle of like merchant of death shit. So that's one part of it. I always find that, and this is a common refrain I'm sure every woman has thought about, but as a dude, I always find it is a huge tell when men say stuff like, there are no men who do blank, or the men around me all feel this way, or whatever. Mostly because the in my experience, the guys who say that are those men that they're talking about. Where they're like, the men around me. So if you got a man saying this, that's not a real man. He ain't no man around me like that. Very quite often, those dudes are the kind of dude that either agrees with or lets bullshit fly, or says and does bullshit all the time. And to them, it just don't count, because they're going, I'm a good person. When I say a homophobic joke, it don't count as me being homophobic. When I say something that's misogynistic, it doesn't really count, because actually I'm a good guy and I respect women. So of course, I hear what you're saying about women not trusting men. I wouldn't either. I don't trust men. I'm a man, and I don't trust them because not on some because they're gonna do something to me, but just because you never know what the fuck a person's into. And when you talk to these people, a lot of times people tell on themselves. And the last thing I'll say is, and I don't think this is just a black man thing, I think this is an affinity group thing, by which I mean, like, if you're around straight black women, if you're around gay people, if you're around white people, when certain people are around the other people like them, a lot of ways that we define safety is in the ability to be toxic, quote unquote. Meaning, I feel safe with you because this is the place where I can be homophobic and I won't get no pushback. And this is the place where I can say something bad about black women and I won't get that pushback. I can make that joke that's really insensitive, or that's actually really low-key fucked up. And even if you don't agree, I expect you to relate to it, or relate to me in a way that allows me to say this without you saying anything back. And that's one of the reasons the real reason I think I have a hard time maintaining, or not even maintaining, because that's not true, but I have a hard time having a lot of friendships with dudes especially, but people in general, is because I don't like being the person that's like, well, I guess if you're gonna say the homophobic shit, it's cool with me because I need you to feel safe, and like, we're friends. I feel like we're not friends if I can't be like, hey man, why'd you say that? That was kind of weird.
We
Like,
have a real conversation
yeah,
about it,
do you
right?
understand like what that really means, and why that's kind of like fucked up that you did that? And a lot of people don't have that or believe in that, so you end up
Mm-mm.
with them being like, Rod not a cool dude, or not, I don't want to hang out
Yeah,
with him.
correct.
And
They
that's
they
fine,
end up
because
leaving.
over the course of my life, those boundaries have drawn themselves, and I've become a better and bigger person. Um, and at the same time, I do believe that some level of like understanding and empathy within your group for shortcomings, or people that need to, for lack of a better term, grow or whatever.
Agreed.
I think there's something there that
Mhm.
is love too. Like, just
Right.
casting them out the second that y'all are out of step with each other does seem performative and over the top, in my
In
opinion. But
extreme,
just,
right.
yeah, but just in general, and it's not just a black man thing. Like,
Mm-mm.
there's a lot of black people that have just different hangups about shit. And I think
Mhm.
when you talking about Brittany Griner, it brought out a lot of shit in a lot of people that they haven't really considered, or just they've accepted these narratives wholesale of like, just a black woman, y'all. It was a Marine, and shit. So like, you have to deal with that part too. But yeah, I feel you, bro. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, man, it could be a bit lonely. Because to me, it's like when that happens, I'm presented with an ultimatum. I have to say something to this person. Um, and and a lot of times that means we either gonna not be friends or they gonna take offense or it won't be the same. And occasionally it's worked out good and people have been like, man, damn, thank you for saying that to me. And I had not thought about that, but a lot of times it's just gonna go bad with
The
people.
ignorance comes out.
All right, let's get to these emails. Someone said a comment on YouTube. Just passing along the message, the HR lady said you don't have any more PTO this year. Hilarious. We'll be taking we'll be missing more days, guys. And here we got a couple emails. Now this is ironic because that was a black man, Dre, who wrote in talking about another black man. This is a black woman, I believe. Maybe, I don't know. She could actually, it's an email, so this could be anybody. But
Could be anybody,
this
right?
person has written in before. They go by Mandy H. And Mandy kind of writes in sometimes stuff that we didn't talk about on the show that much, like Kanye and shit, that I'm like, I I didn't talk about on the show because I mostly didn't want to, but it's feedback. So if you want to hear our thoughts on something, here you go. But I'm assuming Mandy's not trolling, but could be. You never know. But a lot of times Mandy has these opinions that I'm like, you sure that this is the show that
Did you need to write this on?
you sure
I
this
was
is the
like, do
show
you listen?
yeah, like, so anyway, this is the one she left for for this week, because last time I think it was about Kanye. But this is for about Brit. It says Miss Griner. Dear Rod and Karen, about Brittany Griner. Yes, she got to get out of Russia and come back to the USA, but at the price of bargaining for a man that is known as the Merchant of Death, that has conspired to kill U.S. citizens and other crimes, really puts the country in danger. I just wish society held the same sentiment for people in the USA who are in prison for decades or have been classified as a felon for weed and crack like they did for BG, and have the offenders released. I get the whole thing about the government and involvement with crack in the 1980s to force policies and laws to hinder and harass certain communities, but BG had cannabis oil and knew about the substance not being legal internationally, since she has frequently traveled internationally for work. I know that might be a bad analogy and sounds harsh, but man, Mandy. But man, indeed. I'm gonna tell you right now, I 100% disagree with almost every word you wrote.
Same.
For several reasons. The first reason being, and I've tried to stay out of this shit because I feel like it's not 100% helpful, but the framing of her as like nobody, and then the quote unquote merchant of death as, you know, a Marvel movie villain, and then the dude, like the dude that's the Marine that's dishonorably discharged and shit.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff is
Fraud and shit.
yeah, all of this stuff, yeah, all this stuff is really taking on like a Rorschach test of what do people want it to mean. And
Right.
so if you want it to mean that she wasn't worth getting, cool. But I don't agree with that. The other thing is, the fact that she had been over there many times and probably had that oil with her and the pipes and stuff all every single time, them randomly deciding to pull her out, ridiculous. But number three, they sentenced her like she fucking killed people. Now there's other people. Joy Taylor did this on whatever that show is on Fox Sports 1, where she broke down, and we played it on our premium Balls Deep Sports, but she actually broke down how other people had drug charges over there, and they were getting like 2 months,
And fines.
a fine, a slap on the wrist. This was a political prisoner. And I don't understand why you don't bring her home. She is unjustly incarcerated. They were trying to give her 20 years in a fucking penal camp, a penal colony where she had to cut her hair off because her dreads are gonna freeze. We are a show that talks about, the the prison industrialized complex, and not just the overhaul and gutting that it needs, but just the huge unfairness and injustice at the bottom of it. We've talked about incarceration with uh black people. We literally just talked on an episode about Merrick Garland saying we need to stop the sentencing disparity between crack cocaine and powder cocaine. So like, I'm not even sure who the argument is for that last part about, like, what about them people? It's just a lot of what aboutism in this. What about Brittany Griner? Because while we're talking about theory, she really stuck over there. And we can't wait for the ollie ollie oxen free on everybody that's ever smoked crack to get her out. And I don't think her being a political prisoner is mitigated by the fact that, well, she did break a law. So if they would have did the same thing for her jaywalking, well, she did jaywalk. Like, what they were doing was unfair, and it was on purpose, and it was to her, and it was a political game that they were playing. So yeah, I really do disagree with almost every single thing you said, man. And even the stuff with him being a merchant of death, and it it's so funny to hear, because one is just the name that's making people be that way.
Right.
Because if we're like, guns are gonna get on the streets, we live in America. That man was in prison for the last 10 years, and guns ain't did nothing but get worse. So
Hello.
it ain't just a one-man problem that was solving the guns in the world. And people been getting plenty of hands on them around this motherfucker. So I'm not with the idea that Brittany Griner should have spent even one fucking second in prison, let alone the last 9 or 10 months. So yeah, I'm all the way 100% against everything in this.
Same.
All right. And the last email is, y'all about to get me kicked out of my office. Confession: life been extra hard lately, and I haven't listened to the podcast in a while. So I went back to shows from November so I could binge a bunch of shows at once every day. When I'm in my car, I find myself blurting out, "I hate y'all," before I begin laughing hysterically. Sometimes I get weird looks from people sitting next to me at the stoplight, but I don't care, because in the words of Tabitha Brown, that's my business. Well, today I was alone in the office, and episode 2631 was playing. Rod was talking about ordering food from the Ghost Kitchen and going to pick up the food, only to find out it was a Buffalo Wild Wings. When he said it was like eating the cooking from the aunt who had the roaches, I shrieked so loud. Then this fool said, "No, thank you. I seen your roach situation," and I couldn't hold it in anymore. My white coworker told me she never heard me laugh like that before. By the time he said he got home and the food was in the Target bag that they took out from another bag that was filled with bags, I had tears rolling down my cheeks. These folks about to get me escorted out for disturbing the peace. Also, I know that by the time this email comes out, the midterms will have been long gone. Georgia got it right, thank God. But I wanted to add something about voting. I work in local government, have done so for over 10 years, and since May 2021, I am also an elected council member of my town. Congratulations, by the way. People really need to start paying very close attention to their local elections in addition to the midterms of presidential elections. Firstly, because your local elections are the elections that most affect you every day, in your everyday life.
Yes.
Yep. That's your trash being collected or potholes being repaired on busy streets, etc. But your local council people are often the ones who run for county council, then state senate, and possibly your U.S. Senate seat. We really have the power to weed so many of these folks out early. We all know it can be overwhelming to stay on top of the issues. I feel like the Republicans bank on this, but we have to do as best as we can. I find myself becoming so discouraged when talking to younger people, especially younger black people, about voting, and they say foolish stuff like, oh, I'm just not into politics. My reply is always for them to tell me one area of your life not affected by politics or some sort of lawmaking. We still have such a long way to go. Anyway, I love you and love your show. I hope y'all are having an amazing holiday season. Merry Christmas, Kiana.
Hmm. Yeah, and and a lot of people do that. I don't want to talk about politics because, like a lot of shit, people go, if I say anything, it's gonna be arguments. I don't fucking want to argue with people about this quote unquote particular thing. I think that's why a lot of people do that. People, everybody has
Honestly,
opinions and shit like
it's
that.
because
Yeah,
they don't know, Karen.
that's true. That's true
Not
too.
about
Yeah,
arguing. It's not about arguing. They don't know. They can't be bothered. It's whether they're being lazy or they feel intimidated by
yeah, because
like
it could be
getting
confusing.
involved. And so a lot of people play like a lot of centrism is people that don't know. A lot of both
Hmm.
sidesism is people that don't know. A
Agreed.
lot of like even the comedy angle of this of I gotta pick on Joe Biden because I picked on Trump is some weird like I couldn't be bothered to figure out what the fuck was happening. And I don't feel that confident because Americans don't really get taught that much or read that
Mm-mm.
much about policies and how things work. So a lot of times they just take the easy way out and go, yeah, or I don't get into politics. And it's like, oh, you just don't know. And no one wants to feel stupid.
Right, but then the first time you get upset once you find a fucked up law was passed or something that impacts you, and be like, "How the fuck this happened?" Nigga voting. You mad
Yeah.
now? When people ask you to get involved, you opted out.
Yeah. And a lot of times the only people they do know shit about are the Democrats. So that's why and the media doesn't help, but a lot of shit is framed as in when Republicans do something bad, they go, Democrats let this happen. When
Right.
Republicans, you know what I'm saying? When Democrats do something good, they go, it's just not good enough. Because those are the only people they know and the only shit they keep up with. So yeah. But I feel you, especially on that city council and local election thing. So many people just do not looking at that stuff. And when you look on the ground, Republicans are killing the ground game because they're like, listen, this is what the school council is. This is who approves superintendents. This is who changes the budget. And when you start looking up and realizing like some states, even when there was a law saying you could get an abortion, there were some states where you basically couldn't because they just figured out all the ways locally to make it as difficult as possible before the Roe v. Wade overturning. So
Hmm.
yeah, man, you gotta pay attention, stay on your toes. That's it for feedback. Karen, is there any mail or anything to open?
Yeah, I got some cards. I'm gonna read them. Now, I'm not like Rod, so I'm gonna try, quote unquote, try my best.
They understand. It'll be fine.
So, so y'all did I got one. Can you see this?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's a bird and a wreath. Yeah.
Yeah, it says a partridge in a pear tree, and it says still listening. Wishing you a Merry Christmas from Mike in London.
Oh wow, Mike. Thank you.
Still listening. Thank you, baby.
Wow, across the pond. Thank you, good bruv.
And this one is from our friend Olivia and her family. Shout out to Ratchet Ass Lawyer. And we got some
Yes.
beautiful family pics.
Oh, they always do it well. This is why I was afraid for marriage equality. Because you knew that the same sex couples and you knew they was gonna stunt on us every year.
Come
And every
on,
fucking
stunt
year,
on us.
I send out my little straight person card, and then here they go with the blow and the
Here,
fireworks and the glitter popping out when you open it and the
here
lights
they
going
go,
off.
making us look bad and
Right.
and shit like that. This one says, "Happy holidays. May your holidays be merry and your new year bring you joy. Wishing you both the best." And this is from, I want to say, Miller. And if I'm mispronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'm just
It's
I'm just
okay.
looking at the name on the address. And this is the card. Oops, this is the card.
Happy holidays. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Red,
pretty.
red and green. Oh, thank you.
In this one,
Mm-hmm.
it
Merry
says Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. Dear Rod and Karen, Hope happy moments and joyful memories. Make this your merriest holiday ever. Thank you for both for all the laughs. Merry Christmas. And this is from Victoria.
Oh, thank you, Victoria. Now we
And
got a
this is
lot.
this is the last one. Yeah, because I checked the mail today.
Okay.
Now this one is absolutely positively gorgeous.
They are all gorgeous, everybody. Y'all the same, special to me. But oh my God, look at this little baby and it's shiny. Oh my God. Oh. Oh, look at the babies. Oh my goodness. Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
look at the babies. It says playing from podcast, the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. Hey Rod and Karen, remember us, August 2021. Oh, and I don't want to tell your baby's names up, but it's two of them. One is 3.5 and one is 1. It says, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas to you. Oh, it says 2391 Black Gold, the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. And it's pictures of the babies. Oh, I absolutely. And then it has like this on the back of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, and that was the last one. I didn't do too bad. I thought I was gonna tear it up because you know this is
Ah, yeah, good. Don't get it yet. Okay, cool. Well, that's it for the feedback episode. Thanks everybody that listened, and thank you for all the feedback that you guys provided. And like I said, these will be a little more random. Might not always be on a Saturday. But as we pile up episodes, we'll make sure to stop like every 4 or 5 episodes and do a feedback episode. So thank you everybody that
Thank
listen.
you, and thank you very, very much for the cards. I love the cards. I'm gonna have to get me. I'm gonna have to start bag number 2. I got one. I got one Ziploc bag full. I'm gonna have to go to bag number 2. I don't know what I think I'm gonna take the cards and make a collage or something out of it because they are beautiful. I like I said, Roger jokes, but he not lying. I'm an old grandma. I got a whole drawer up there full of everything. I'm like your kindergarten teacher. I keep all the kids' cards and they all are beautiful to me.
So yeah, thank you for all of that stuff. And yeah, the welcome home, Brittany Griner. I'm glad you're out. And I don't care what Mandy H says. We support black women over here. All right,
We
y'all. We'll talk to you later.
do.
Until next time. I love you.
I love you too. Mwah.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Peace. No, this is working.